The legislature in Madison has only a few more days to pass new bills before going on recess. Plus, new documents shedding light on Wisconsin's fake elector scheme in 2020. CBS 58's Emilee Fannon, WisPolitics editor J.R. Ross discussed that and more in tonight's Capital Connection.
Newly released documents this week kind of show more in depth about Wisconsin's involvement in the scheme to submit fake electors for Donald Trump during the 2020 election. And these documents were part of a settlement that was reached between two Trump attorneys here in Wisconsin, JR. And for years, we want to talk about one individual in particular, which is Senator Ron Johnson, because he has long said that he didn't have any really connection with these lawyers, and specifically Jim Troupis, who was a Trump attorney. But now new records are revealing different details and kind of contradicting a lot of his statements, specifically what he told CBS 58 back in December. When we asked about his involvement, he maintained that he nor his staff really had anything to do with trying to get these fake electors into the hands of Vice President Mike Pence. Well, now these records are kind of telling quite a very different story. But what we really want to talk about, JR, is that really right now, it's not a great look for Johnson, but there's not really any real repercussions for him right now.
So one, did Johnson forget what happened? It was a chaotic time, so there's that. Or did he figure this is never going to come out, so I can kind of like try and diminish it as much as I can, because at the time it was a very hot topic, but it's never going to come back to bite me in the butt, because I'm likely going to be in the ballot in 2028. So going forward, it's not an issue for him. He got through 2022 without it really becoming an issue, because most voters don't seem to have a real care or passionate feeling about that. It's in the past. The exception was the Democratic base. And that's why Josh Kaul is an interesting figure in all this, because we saw through those documents released that records were turned over to Josh Kaul, the Department of Justice. The Attorney General has not said yay or nay if he's doing an investigation. If he doesn't do one, how will that sit with the Democratic base? Because Josh Kaul is viewed as a potential candidate for governor down the road. If he doesn't do anything, that might be an issue for him in a contested primary for governor. These are a lot of ifs down the road, but something to consider, like, where's Josh Kaul? What's he going to do with this issue?
Right, and his office has long declined whether there is an active investigation. Of course, they do that on a lot of cases, just be careful. But definitely a big question that's been lingering here in the Capitol for a very long time. Let's move on to our next topic, with the Governor Evers signing a few bills into laws, but specifically we want to talk about the tax bills, which ones he signed and he didn't. He signed one, but vetoed three others.
So look, he nixed one for retirement income, a big income one. He signed one for child care and dependent care. What I'm kind of watching is how this play this fall. If you go back to the 2022 Marquette Law School poll right before the election, people were asked, like, what are you concerned about? Of the 9 topics that were asked, taxes were like number 6, the most concerned. I just don't know if it's as big of a hit as it used to be. 20 years ago, Wisconsin was a top 10 tax state, maybe top 5 for various measures. Now we're like in the teens or 20s. And look at how many times people are voting to increase their own taxes through property taxes for school referendums.
Right.
So I don't know if it's a big hit, but it could be something you see used this fall to gin up the Republican base, because they want tax cuts. That is still a big issue for them. I'm just not sure how it plays in an election that's going to be national issues, abortion, immigration, Biden and Trump most likely, how that's going to filter through or break through the noise you're going to hear this fall.
And what this means for those families at home, if you do apply for this, it would be roughly about 110,000 taxpayers would see an average benefit about $650 in savings, and that's according to the governor's office, to put that into picture for people. But now let's look ahead to next week, because Tuesday is the big day here in the state capitol, because it is going to be the last session day for the state Senate. Well, we say last day. I mean, of course they can always come back, but this is kind of their last to-do list right now. Some likely themes that we could hear, possibly some UW bills dealing with loyalty pledges, kind of tied to the DEI, curtailing that, as Republicans have wanted to do that for a while. Some resolutions to possibly restrict the governor's veto powers, and a bill likely dealing with banning transgender athletes from competing in women's sport. But I think the question is, always on a final session day, JR, there could be surprises. Do we expect any?
Possibly, and it's really kind of a messaging day. So look, the Assembly's gone home. Remember, you have to pass the same version of the bill, same language before it goes to the governor's desk. So unless you're taking up a Assembly bill, if it's a Senate version, it's not going to go anywhere. A lot of people, though, in the Senate have priorities. They want to send a message about where they're at. It also tees up mail for this fall to say we voted for X, Y, and Z. So some of it's going to be about that, kind of looking ahead to the fall. Some of it for members is a priority. Like, this matters a lot to me, my constituents. We need to pass this bill. But we're also seeing the governor veto a lot of what's going to come out of the Senate on Tuesday. so I don't know much will get actually done. A big thing hanging out there is this transmission line bill. Would give existing utilities the right of first refusal for a new transmission line. That's a big deal. We're talking like $2 billion in work coming in the state the next decade or so. Opponents say it limits competition. Proponents say it provides certainty and gets things working through the bureaucratic red tape. It's the most heavy lobbied bill in the second half of 2023. There are a lot of moneyed interest behind it. That is a high stakes game for lobbyists in the Capitol and lawmakers. Don't forget too, Republicans are looking at a new map this fall. They've got tensions that always happen in every session, and this big giant bill split the caucus, not quite down the middle, but close to it. It creates tension and drama, which we love, the last day of a session, but it's not going to be a fun day in the Senate necessarily.
All right, we'll stay tuned on that. Thanks so much for joining us this week.